I'm now live. Cedar will be joining me in a trice, and he and I will draw something. I don't know what we'll draw, but we're going to draw something. While I'm waiting for him, I'm going to draw part of this watch because I need to draw part of this watch. That's what I need to do. So let me get a piece of paper that's big enough to do what I need to do. And how doth the busy bee? The busy bee doth okay. Cedar Bylard will be joining me in a minute, and maybe Russell, and we're going to do some drawing together. I'm trying to figure out a way where I can do a drawing. I think I'm going to do it on these. Hey, Cedar. Let me invite you in, Cedar. Just a sec. Invite. Paste. I know I should be doing something else, but I'm not. I'm doing this right here. But Cedar, we can talk about what sort of drawing we want to do when you get online. I'm doing a quick drawing of a watch because I have a project I need to do this for. Watch works. Of course, I'm running out of ink. So I'm dipping it into this. I'm going to get my brush and move it around and smoosh it around. And maybe it'll turn into something. The show that I have up right now is coming down, and I've got to make room in my studio for all of this stuff.
Hey,
Hello,
Pierre.
Cedar.
What's up?
Well,
Long time no see.
Long time no see is right.
How have you been?
I've been okay. What I'm doing right now, I'm just finishing. I'm just going to scribble some brush stuff on this, and hopefully this will work for what I need it to work for, which is to essentially be a centerpiece of a drawing. So let me, where's some water around here? Just a minute.
Well, I guess I'm going to try and rig up my computer to look at my page. See if I can do that like last time. Kind of something like that or something. See if I can make this happen. Without, see, I might need a little like something to hold the computer there. Let's see. Get a book or something. Let's see here. Well,
I cannot function these days. I'm tripping over stuff. So anyway, what I'm doing is just, I'm gonna try to
it's dusty.
make this work. So you're interested in drawing with brushes, are you?
Well, I've always been interested, but I'm never happy with anything I actually produce with a brush. But you know, I think the technique is neat, and when you master it, wow, it's pretty spectacular. You know, I like pens more than anything. You know,
Well, pens
Like you, I'm obsessed with pens.
pens are uh, certainly the way to go in my book normally, but uh, doing things with uh, ink wash and brush might be something that we both should can learn how to do and master in our own way. So don't give up. Um, and don't judge anything by what I'm doing here because this kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, so, did you get that app yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to play around with that.
Well,
I want to. It's on my
it's
agenda, like a lot
on
of
your
things are.
agenda. Okay, well, uh, a couple of clicks here and there, and you will have it on your iPhone. Not on your, it'll be off your agenda and on your iPhone. So I think, and it's really simple to use. It doesn't, uh, because it essentially is stop action. You just take a picture of one drawing and then move to another drawing, or have it show up, have it just click every 5 seconds or whatever, and you move it, move your stuff. If you're doing, moving toys around or something, you do that. But if you're drawing, I would draw all of your um, frames and then take pictures of each one individually.
Yeah, I liked those fish animations you were doing with that app. I thought those were
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, they're they're fun, and I'm hoping I'll be able to do some more when I'm in Minneapolis, and I'm sort of uh, have time on my hands.
You're going back to Minneapolis, huh?
I'm going back to Minnesota to help settle my dad's estate,
Oh,
uh, or the estate of my parents. But my mother died 10 years ago, so it's the more recent 2 years ago my father died, and we sort of weren't sure what we were going to do with things, and now COVID happened, and then so now we've got to make up our minds now, I guess, about what we're doing. Um, so uh, what um, I mean, your the way you draw and how you compose a set of drawings on a page, it's so much like a comic strip, that you sort of read from top to bottom, left to right, that it seems to me that you could easily uh, turn them into um, sort of animations or storyboards or something.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I've been kind of playing around with kind of having more of a sequential display of them on Instagram, where I have like a series, and then you scroll left, and then the scene kind of changes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I've been trying playing around with that anyway.
Oh, good.
Something I was noticing about these really tiny pens is like you can use them kind of like Conti chalk. You ever go to a life drawing and they teach you how to draw with Conti chalk with your whole
Yeah.
arm? You kind of use the pen as like Conti chalk. I think that's kind of neat, because I
Okay.
always
So
thought it
you're
was kind of, because to hold it like a normal pen, it's like really hard when without a cap. I mean, with the cap, it's a little bit easier, but even then, it's like so tiny in my big hand.
no.
But I found it to be kind of interesting to use it like Conti chalk. You know?
Okay. So you're holding it like this.
Yeah, kind of like you would hold a
Right.
Conti chalk. Have you ever
Conte
tried that
crayons.
with your pens? With
I
your really shorties, your little tiny
with
guys?
my little tiny shorties.
Yeah, it's kind of
Uh,
fun.
that's rather personal. My little tiny shorties. I do the best I can with whatever fingers I need. Um, I don't use. I don't really hold the pen that way. Um,
I don't normally either.
but I can try. Let's try it right now. Let's do another. Um, so I'm gonna let me fill up a pen here. I'm using. I've got like dead ink everywhere. I don't have any real bottles of real ink. So here is. I'm not going to put a cap on this. I'm just going to hold it like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that one seems a little too long for the technique, because those Conti chalks are really short.
Yeah.
They're tiny. They're like this. They're like one of these little wall pens. This is one of those little wall.
Well, this is not overly large, but
Oh, okay.
again, I'm holding it. So what is this? What this is making me do? It is making me
Use your whole arm, right?
treat it. Well, I do my whole arm movement when I'm doing my regular pen stuff. But see one of the things that's happening because I'm holding it very, very low to the paper, the feed underneath the nib hits the paper
Oh,
sometimes.
that's no good. Yeah. Well, with
Well,
these,
that's not what it's fine. I mean, it's happened many times here, and it's not making me mental because you're loosening me up, Mr. Cedar.
yeah. Well, I
So,
think it's kind of a fun way to go. I'm going to try to make my display better. See if let's move things around here. Not ruin my computer and drop it or something. Is that going to work?
so I was playing with some of my brethren here on this channel. I was playing my challenge drawing game where
Oh, cool.
everyone starts with a squiggle and a dot and a line or whatever the thing is, and then you take those starting points and then you turn it into a drawing, and
Oh, yeah.
and it's really a fun way to kill time and waste ink and keep from doing actual work.
Wasting ink's my favorite thing to do.
Well, I think I'm wondering if there's something else that's favorite. That I'm being really bad. I'm sorry. I think that wasting ink or playing with ink and playing with pens is a perfectly legitimate way to spend any amount of time during any given day because you're not taking drugs and you're not breaking into the church a new roof fund and you're not doing anything bad. You're just using ink up. And so it's a good thing in my book.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is save that ink.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to use it for? Drink it on a hot day?
Or let it dry out and get all full of sediment and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to be in Minnesota for 2 months, and with my loving family. And I think it'll be fine. My loving family and I get along pretty well. We don't have any issues really. But we are going to be, deciding what things that we've inherited of my mom and dad and that we're going to keep and what we want to sell and what we want to throw away. And there's a lot of stuff that I should have thrown away because, I didn't really, had I moved somewhere in Minneapolis, I would have moved a lot of my own things out of my parents' house. But because I didn't. You know, a lot of the stuff I had in high school is still there. And do I need my high school uh, physics textbook? No, I don't need that anymore. I don't think. But it's still, you know, saying goodbye to those things is not necessarily going to be easy. Or it should be easy, but you know, I'm a sentimentalist sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, getting rid of stuff, you know, it's a
Do
thing.
are your parents still kicking?
Yeah, my parents are alive. I have only one living grandparent, and she lives up in Northern California, and she has Alzheimer's, so
Uh,
she's kind of,
Out of
you
it?
know, yeah, she's a little out of it, but she does still know me, which is nice. I recently had to help her get into a home,
Oh,
but I got her something nice, you know, a nice home.
good,
That's
good.
so, yeah, and yeah, my parents are alive and well. My parents are about your age. They're
Now
born in
rub it in.
'55.
Rub it in. Rub it in.
Why not try to rub anything in? I'm just saying.
Mm.
Same kind of generation,
Yeah.
baby boomers. Guess what made you decide to move to Boston?
Well, I thought I was gonna eventually go to New York, and because I was sort of I was thinking I would be some sort of fine artist and make it big, you know.
Yeah,
And I I thought Boston might be a nice step, and I knew a number of people that lived here, and my roommate from college days was coming out here to uh, be a grad student at Tufts. So I thought, well, I could probably stay with him until I find a place of my own, um, and then I found a place of my own and ended up staying here. And you know, I in my fine arts career sort of went south. I sort of had a career here for a short time, maybe 10 years, and but it's tough being uh, in the uh, fine art realm.
I agree. I think it's awful. I can't stand it. I went to UCLA
Yeah,
for an art degree, and it was like, you know, full of, you know, the hottest names of, you know, that particular time. I
yeah,
graduated in 2001. So, you know, like I wasn't really expecting to get in there because it was such a hot school and whatnot.
yeah,
But then when they accepted me, I was like, well, I guess I have to go here, you know, because it's the hot ticket, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they did a pretty good job of, you know, kind of.
Making you hate art.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. You know, so like, yeah, so but I had a lot of actually some pretty good teachers, and you know, fairly supportive teachers. And I don't know if you know the artist Larry Pittman.
I don't know. No.
Well, he's a famous painter, and
Uh,
he's a teacher there, and he was a really good teacher. Of the teachers I had, I felt like he was the most realistic in being like, hey, you know, art world's kind of awful, but you know, like this is what it is. If you want to survive in it, you know, here's
yeah.
some pointers, you know. But yeah, after school, I just I couldn't, you know, it was just I just kind of cracked under the pressure. I was like, well, geez, this is just, you know, sucked all the joy out of it for me. And
Well, you know, what you're doing now and what I'm doing now, I think, and we're doing it, you know, for fun. We're doing it uh, not as professional artists, maybe, but we're doing the art part of what we do for the amateur, uh, which is mean, you know, I'm using the word in its original sense, you know, for the love of it, rather than for the money of it. So, you know, being an amateur is not a bad thing because you're doing what you love and you
really,
don't
so the
care.
word amateur comes from like a person who does not make money necessarily from art. Is that right?
Well, amateur is different from professional in the sense that you're not doing it for a living, but amateur it's from the Latin, I think, for love. So you do it for the
Oh,
love of the thing. Now,
right.
people think of amateur as being, second rate or untrained or whatever, but it doesn't mean that. It means more that you're not doing it for a living.
Well, then I'm a proud amateur.
You're a proud amateur. And let me look that up though, because I don't want to
Oops.
start spreading bad rumors.
I think this might have worked better like this. I don't know.
Amateur.
It's kind of a disaster. I need to make one of those tripods you showed me about,
Yeah.
and then figure out how to get my phone to work with this streaming thing.
One who engages in art, science, study, or athletic activity as a pastime rather than as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to find to a. I'm trying to find the amateur versus amateur. What's the difference? Okay, that's not what I want. Amateur, from the French amateur, lover of, is generally considered a person who pursues a particular activity or field of study independently from their source of income. So it has a much more common understood meaning of being someone who's not very good, I think.
Right.
As opposed, but it actually doesn't mean that. It just means that you're not doing it for money. So,
Right.
So you now have a different schedule. Is it because it's summertime?
No, it's because the COVID. Well, school ended, and so I went back to my typical schedule. I think next year, there won't be the COVID rules, so
I see.
like they just had me coming in early because they had school was organized in a weird way where there were two shifts of children that came in a morning and then an afternoon, so they needed a custodian to come in midday. So, but now it'll go back to normal school. So I just come in after the kids leave at 3.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a professional cleaner.
Yeah.
I just clean things for money.
And I don't.
So, hey,
I don't clean for love nor money. I just let things get dirty. That's what I do.
Yeah, I look at it as just a means to an end.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, you're very. When I first talked to you about this, it is exactly. You have an ideal life in a way. You're doing something that you're good at, and you get paid to do it, and yet when you come home, presumably, you you don't fret about how good or how bad you did during the course of the day. I'm sure you always do well, but you don't bring the work home with you.
Yes,
But
that's.
maybe you do. I don't know.
Oh no, God no. That's what I love about the job. Yeah, because I've had other jobs that required you to invest much more of your person into the job. Your soul. Yeah, and I don't want to invest any of my soul into a job, really. I just want to draw and
you just want the
have fun,
money.
basically.
Just give me the money.
I just need the money. So that's why. But yeah, I work at a very nice school too, where the people are really nice, and the work environment is nice, and that's pretty great. It's not some work environments are really awful. Like even if the job isn't so bad, like people are unfriendly and that kind of thing. So luckily, I work with a lot of real nice people too. So it's actually pretty ideal situation.
Yeah. My my friend Russell, who you've probably met here or
Yeah,
seen.
well, I haven't actually said hello to him in person, but I've seen you draw with him and so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
Well, he has a job that's not unlike yours in a school. I don't want to say system, but in a school environment where he uh, is in charge of uh, making sure the dorm or the building that houses the students is functioning. So,
No.
if people have problems with their plumbing or something, they talk to him and he can figure out what needs to be done. Uh, or if someone loses their key, he might, you know, be able to let him in and things like that. But um, and he says that it's uh, there's no joy in it for him. He really wants to teach, but
Oh,
when you teach, and he'd be a great teacher, but when you teach in uh, a situation where you're in a school, you spend so much time uh, dealing with things that don't have anything to do with teaching. You end up going to meetings where you talk about curriculum and you know boring things, you know, and so anyway,
no, yeah, I did a little bit of substitute teaching because I
yeah,
kind of got fixated on, well, I have this bachelor's degree. I feel like I should do something with it. So I did a bit of substitute teaching. God, I hated it. It was just a nightmare. It was like being dragged through broken glass and nails. I couldn't stand it.
yes,
But it's not because I didn't like the children. I like the children, but I'm not good at like dealing with people who are being, like just intolerable. I don't want to deal with that. It's too much personal stress on me. It's like, look, I'm here to just keep an eye on things. I'm a sub. I'm here to take a
yeah,
role. Don't kill me over it, please, for God's sakes. I'm
yeah.
not your enemy. I'm just here because, like I'm
Your
substitute
teacher's
teaching.
sick. Your teacher
Yeah, your
tried to kill.
teacher is sick.
Your teacher tried to kill themselves yesterday. They were
Yeah,
so
right.
miserable.
Exactly. Yeah. You
So,
anyway.
so while they're in rehab uh, and having their stomach pumped from all the aspirin they took, I'm here trying to keep you guys in line.
Yeah, your teacher is trying to resolve their drinking problem. Now, don't blame yourselves.
Um, so I liked your drawings you posted where where Lady Duofold is curtsying to the Countess or whoever she's
Oh,
curtsying.
oh yeah, yeah. I've really fallen in love with that pen. It's like I've been, everybody's so enchanted with a flexible pen, for obvious reasons. But I got that pen, and I realized, a very stiff, very fine, but still very smooth pen can be just magic.
Yeah, I have the same feeling about pens that I have that are very fine. They can be really, really stiff, or they can't be a complete nail. They have to have a little tiny, tiny, tiny bit of give.
Yeah,
But just the fineness of that line is really a joy. Um, like this pen here is one of the finer ones I have, and um, I think when it's awful because I'm using this watered down ink, but it's um, it's really a joy. Okay, I'm gonna do some more watch drawings here. I'm gonna mount them in these coasters. So uh, just use up the coaster frames.
oh yeah, it's cool.
So
Yeah, I like that one watch one that you framed in a circular frame.
yeah,
That looked pretty cool.
So I'm going to see what I can do with this one on this paper. I was using that sort of transparent paper, and see what I can do here. I did make on my on my whatever page, Instagram page, I did make some uh, animations using that app of watches ticking and doing stuff. Did you see those?
I don't think I saw that one. I'll have to
Well, I'll
look
show you
back on there.
I'll show you right now when I'm done drawing this. Um, it was neat because I had a piece of watercolor paper which I drew 12 maybe, or 8, or some even number of similar drawings where I just added or moved some gears or changed the reflection or whatever it was I was doing to come up with 12 different frames. And then I sort of implied that, the watch was ticking and the second hand was moving, and it lasts for maybe 10 seconds. And um, it just, my neighbor at Brick Bottom is uh, an award-winning, I guess we could say, animator, and her work is just amazing. And um, I'll send you a link to what she does. Um, and she told me about this 2-frame uh, system of making um, animations, where you essentially draw only 2 frames of something, and then you just go from one image to the next, to the back to the first, to the second, to the first, to the second, and you have it going, and it has just a little tiny bit of motion which turns the barking dog or the whatever alive. And
Ooh,
it's really effective as um, a tool. So let me just show you. Let me get my phone going here. Hello, Carson.
let me ask you, what in the world is Brick Bottom?
Brick Bottom is the name of my building, and
Oh, okay.
uh, it had been the name of the area that I live in. So let me get watches here. So here's watch. Okay, watch. Look, Cedar. So these are the frames that I've
Ooh, that's
got.
cool. I like them in a tile format like
Yeah.
that.
But here's how it reads. Here's how it plays. Tick, 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 tick,
Oh,
tick,
yeah,
tick,
look at
tick, tick,
that.
tick, 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 tick. And then I think, does this do anything else? This might have maybe 8 different frames in it. Let's find another one. That's as much as that one does. Okay, watching a watch. This has 108 frames. So look at this one.
Ooh, that one's got
So,
hands on it.
so
Okay, here
it
we go.
starts off on the inside,
Yeah.
and then the second hand moves and back to the outside, and then you go back to the face. So anyway, so that's what it's like. So if you were to come up with, 5 or 6, here's another one with more color.
Neat. Oh, I like that color
And I didn't
there.
actually, this didn't turn into anything. I think I stopped that one. So let me go back home. A play. So this is another one that I made, another watch thing, which started out very faint and got more complicated and went back to being faint again. So it's very washy and nebulous, and then more angular and more detailed, and then goes back to nothing. So anyway, it's a fun little app for $1 or whatever it costs,
Cool.
And I think it would work really, really well with your how do I describe the figures you do?
Cartoons?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Weird
because
cartoons?
they it's like they have cartoon strips of a certain era had, the Tumbletown twins, or there was a certain name for certain
Oh,
kinds of cartoons, and you have these sort of, they're like Jack in the Boxes that have come out of the Jack in the Box, come out
oh
of their
yeah, I'm
boxes.
really into kind of obsessed with drawing
So
that.
they're sort of these accordion like creatures that you have drawn, which are really fun.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing around with that animation app. I think that'll be kind of
Yeah,
fun. I
yeah,
appreciate you turning me on to that.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been using your technique of creating shading too with a water brush after I draw, which is also a really nice, fun thing to do.
Yeah, I like the fact that the ink is sort of breaks down into more than one color. It's not just gray, it's blue or brown, and it's sort of uh, is polychromatic, and it's kind of a neat thing here. Okay, so I'm gonna just take
I'm
this.
curious, where does your, I don't know if that's exactly an obsession necessarily, but could be like of watches and fish. I notice it's subjects that is it just you enjoy the forms or,
Well, the fish was part of a planned piece that I did for the gallery, and I just kept liking it, so I just kept doing them, and it's
yikes.
it's it's just fun. Watches, I do have a small collection of some pocket watches, maybe 20 or so, and I love the little mechanisms of them and how they what's similar about it's like with pens, except I don't really care. There's not, you can't draw with them, so you can listen to the way they tick maybe, and you can, if they sound one way and sound another way, that might be interesting. But it's really just a visual thing for me, looking at the little gears and the um, and stuff. Fish, though, they're just so much fun to take these cardboard boxes that have graphics on them and just find faces in them. And it's just, I find it very relaxing and rather fun. Okay, let me see how this works. So let's say we're done with this drawing. Cedar. Is this fit?
Relaxing and fun is as good a reason as any. That's what I
So
say.
how does that look? Looks pretty good.
Wow, I like it.
So now I've got to do, how many more do I have? I have 3 more. I have to do 4 total. Luckily, I have another watch. Actually, why don't I do this? This watch was given to my grandfather when he was confirmed in the Lutheran Church. And my grandmother, his wife, gave it to me when I was confirmed. So it has the engraving that was uh, given to him, which was beautifully hand engraved, from father and mother, Palm Sunday, 1912.
Wow.
And then rather less attractively engraved, because it was by machine rather than by hand, it says, Peer from Tony. My grandmother's name was Tony, Antonia. So,
Oh,
so we, Tonie. So I will make this the portrait of my watch I got from my confirmation that belonged to my grandfather who I never met. He died when my dad was 12, and other and mother. So that's one of the things that I get to do when I'm home, is to look through. I think it's just probably going to be easier for all of us if we just keep all of the jewelry that my mother owned and my father inherited from his mother, and deal with it some other time, because we don't need to melt down the heirlooms uh, to pay bills, but we are going to be looking through things and deciding what to keep and what to sell. My dad gave me his father's. His father was a mason, so he gave me my grandfather's Masonic ring, which I have somewhere here, though I cannot remember where. So if I kick the bucket tomorrow, my brothers and my niece and nephew won't even know that that's. You'll have to tell them. It's up to you. It's up to you to tell them that this thing belonged to your uh, paternal grandparents, and they'll say, "Yeah, what of it? What of it?" So, they won't say that, but one brother is a sentimentalist, the other one isn't.
Mm.
So he. So there, I have a feeling there may be some stress that might occur, whether we keep something or sell it. But so what are you? So you like these sort of bouncy accordion? They all look like they're good. They're taller than they normally would be because they're sort of bouncing up. Um, is that true or what? I mean, these people intimately. I don't. What your characters you create?
Yeah, well, I find like I do it in a sort of mindless fashion, where I
Oh,
kind of just start and
yeah.
let the drawing create itself, kind of thing, like that. And then, like, I come up with another idea, like, oh, it'd be fun to do this or do that, or how might I do this or do that to solve a problem, kind of.
Uh-huh. Well, they because of their comic book layout, I can't help but try to find a story there.
Yeah.
And when there isn't one, or when I can't find it, I get just a little bit annoyed, but not too.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I've wanted to come up with something that is more like digestible,
Uh-huh.
with a narrative and so on and so forth. I just haven't been able to do it. So it's like a work in progress.
Yeah. Russell made some really, really fun comics, um, cartoon things that have a dialogue, I mean, a plot to them, and they're really, really sweet. One was this old woman. Well, I don't know how old she is. You don't really see her enough to know, but she has a pet dog that she feeds every day. But the pet dog is actually, maybe she doesn't realize this, but the pet dog is actually a little dining room table that she has on a leash, and it's just darling. It just makes me laugh out loud.
I should see that one. That sounds
Um,
cool.
yeah, I'll see if I can have him post it because it was really sweet. Okay, so I've got 2 of the 4 sides done. Now I've got this side.
Yeah, a lot of my drawing, I feel like I'm trying to like figure out how to do things, kind of trying to learn something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so a lot of it feels like practice,
Yeah.
practicing for something, but I don't exactly know what.
Well, again, it sounds like what we do. What we do. We're amateurs. We do it for the love of wasting ink. You know,
Yes, exactly.
what is the Latin
Wasting ink.
for what is the Latin for wasting? I wonder.
Uh,
Um, where that's what we are, and whatever the word for ink is, um, where we just push the ink around, using it up, and Ambrose Bierce, the writer.
I know the name, but I don't know if I've ever read anything of
Okay,
his.
um, he he had a dictionary called the Devil's Dictionary, and he came up with sort of witty descriptions of what definitions of words. Um, so the definition for the word painting is um, uh, protecting canvas from the elements, but exposing them to the critics.
Oh,
And uh, so, we're wasting ink that could be used to be doing something that will make us money, but we're having too much fun to worry about that, right?
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm not opposed to eventually having something that I could sell. I'm not opposed to the idea. I just haven't come up with it yet.
Yeah,
Just
I see.
so.
Well, what you need to do is just find the customer who wants to buy these accordion. You have to, make friends with the accordion manufacturers of the world and say that this could be part of your advertising campaign, and we could make uh, these could be part of why people choose your accordion rather than the other accordion, because we've got these cartoons that people can collect. What do you think about that? See, that sounds awful because we're turning the art into, we're trying to sell it instead of just having fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, the thing is too, it's like, are people buying accordions these days?
Uh,
Yeah,
that's that's beside the point. I'm sure that there are accordion makers that are looking for the next accordion craze, and if you can say it's jump on, you can get on the ground floor now if you buy into, you have me design your accordion uh, comic strip characters. Look, you could have all of these. You could have, dolls. You could have. There could be, all sorts of things that you could. Okay, never mind, Cedar. You're doing fine the way you are. Just
well, it's interesting, because the advertising art of yesteryear is so beautiful and fun compared to the stuff you see today.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's true.
I love all that hand-drawn, illustrated advertising from like, let's just say the 60s on up
Yeah,
through the 1800s,
yeah.
just blows me away. And it just seems to be more and more drawn the further back you go.
Well, they didn't have photography, and they didn't have photographic. Uh, when you see drawings, line drawings with cross hatching in old dictionaries and stuff, they are so crisp and so clear, and you can see all of the parts of whatever it is you're you're looking at, and then you look at a photograph that's used, dot matrix pattern, to print it, and you lose all of the detail. There's no detail there. It just all turns into dots, and there's not enough dots to describe what you need to describe. Okay, so I have a book here somewhere. I would show it to you if I could remember where it is. And I may be able to put my little forelegs on it in a minute. But okay, so do I show I think I probably should show the face of this watch rather than the other front. The front that has my name on it. So I'm just going to show this is kind of interesting. My grandfather, what he did was with white ink on the white dial, he wrote his initials, MAG, and you can see it only when you hold the watch up at a certain angle. It's really kind of neat that it was his way of being able to prove that that's my watch. No, it isn't, Gus. It's my watch. Well, if you hold it to the light, you can see that it says MAG.
Huh. How did he achieve that?
I don't know if you can see, but he wrote with white ink
On the face of it?
on the face of it, MAG.
Oh.
I don't know,
I
again.
can't really see it, but
Well, I'll take
I
a
guess
picture.
that's the point, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was something that you were not to see until, after you were caught with it red-handed, and then he would say, well, it's my watch. Well, how could you prove that, Gus? They'd say. And he'd say, well, because he could say it's a Road Watch Company watch, and I don't think there's another one on the planet. It's I've never heard of another one. So
I love those old watches too. I think they're really neat. I don't have any of them, but when I go to the swap meet sometime, there's this one guy that has a large selection,
yeah,
and I will just look at his watches, really neat. Like,
yeah,
like he talks about, oh, this one's a railroad watch, and it's got a certain number of jewels and whatever that really means. I don't really understand, but they sure are beautiful, handcrafted
yeah.
things.
They are lovely things. Well, the jewels are the gears of the watch are have they're on a pin. They're on an axle,
Okay.
and each end of the axle is held in between two jewels, two rubies that will not wear down. So that they're actually quite hard to wear down. So that's what they are, what they
So it's
refer
sort of
to.
like the tip on a pen. They try to make it out of
Yeah,
something
yeah,
very hard.
yeah. And
Interesting.
the jewels are, there's 9 jewels, and there's 17 jewels, and there's 19 jewels. It sometimes if your watch has some sort of extra thing on it, like a stopwatch app. If your watch has an app on it, like a stopwatch, it will have an extra pair of jewels to run that extra hand or whatever it might be. And then after, I think Timex was the first one to come out with a inexpensive watch that didn't need jewels because it had stainless steel bearings or something instead.
Oh,
So I may have made this one too big. Did I make it too big? It's okay. Yeah, it'll all fit. Let me see if I can find that book. Oh, hi, Russell. Join us, won't you? You'll have 3 drawers on the thing, and then I will. Maybe we can all draw an accordion. Start new. Let me see if I can find that book though. I'm not sure where the book is, but what it was, Cedar, was essentially a yellow pages. You're probably too young to know what those are.
Oh no, I was a child of the '80s. I was a little
Okay,
boy
the
in the
yellow
'80s, so I
pages.
remember I
Anyway,
remember at our house we had a big yellow phone stuck on the wall that the phone company provided.
I see. And you dialed, or you pressed
Yeah,
a
it was
button
a
and then you
dial. So you
dial it.
spin the
Oh,
dial.
oh, a dial phone. Well, that does. That
Yeah,
is old. But
yeah.
what this book was is essentially a yellow pages for illustrators in New York City. And there were people that were, their specialty was hands. So all they drew was hands. That's all they did. And their other one was specialty in lettering, and someone else was a specialty in faces or portraitures or pen and ink. And
Wow, they had those it was that specialized. I did not know that. That's
yeah,
really
there's
interesting.
a friend of mine, her mother was a foot model.
Wow.
And there are people that are hand models, and there are people that are, when you see Robert Redford in a movie pick up a phone and dial it, that's probably not his hands because his
You,
hands are too ugly. So they actually have a hand stand in, dial the phone, you
well,
know.
I knew about the hand modeling thing from Seinfeld because
Oh, okay.
there's an episode involving that.
I see. Well, anyway, there were hand drawers as well, people that just would draw hands. And one of my most favorite pictures in this book is this hand that I'm just, let me see if I can find it again. Is Russell going to join us or not? We don't know.
Well, Pierre, actually, it's almost noon. I have to kind of get off the phone here at noon
Oh,
and do a few things before I go to work.
okay.
But maybe we can tune in again. I don't know, maybe tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. Um, for the next minute, though, I'm going to draw I'm going to pretend I'm Cedar Bylard.
Okay, I'll hang on for another minute. We're gonna do an accordion drawing together.
No, I'm going to draw an accordion person.
Okay, should I do the same?
You do the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
What's really neat, you understand human anatomy really well. I
Well,
love how you
yeah.
do it.
Well,
And
it's all from going to life drawing.
yeah,
Honestly,
well,
I didn't go to it until I was pretty old. Like I didn't really start going to life drawing until 2014.
but
You
you
know.
remember you remembered things. I don't. I have to look at things. Oh, here's Russell.
Well, I get the general idea of where things might go, but I'm taking guesses still.
Well, but the thing is, you're really good at you have this great way of drawing hands. Like I always have to look at a hand. Oh my God, the thumb is way down there. How is that even possible? Um, but you just know how to do it. So here's so
Hello.
here.
Hey Russell,
Hello.
how's it going?
Okay, how are you guys?
Good, good. This is Cedar.
Nice to meet you in the
Hello.
flesh. Well, sort
There
of in
we
the
are.
flesh. Video flesh.
Well, there's my accordion man.
I can't exactly
What's that?
remember how an accordion goes.
Well, you draw them all the time.
Trying to think about that. It has
They
keys on it, it's like a
they have
piano, right?
keys, but it's the thing that makes it accordion is it's that the accordion fold, the zigzaggy bellows that they squeeze in and out to make it work, and that's what your people always look like to me. They sort of look like they're I don't want to say accordions, but they look like they could condense vertically.
Right.
They expand and condense vertically.
My friend Rachel played the accordion.
Well, think back to what she looked like.
Playing it. I don't know if this is really working, but
Think back to the Miss America pageants from 1952. There's has to be an accordionist there. And what do you think about world politics today? Well, I think we should all be friends, except for those commies.
jeez.
A friend of mine had two brothers, and the one brother that I knew didn't need assistance for doing what he did in his life, and the other one was just too much of a loser. But the mother thought that the youngest son needed some help before he went off to job interviews, and she hired the woman that uh, trains and helps the Miss Kansas wannabes in becoming Miss Kansas. And so I was just thinking, poor Rich, applying to be the circuit court judge in Washington, D.C., or whatever he was going to be, something like that, showing up in his swimsuit and his accordion to play Lady of Spain on the accordion, because that's what his trainer thought he should do. So anyway, here's my accordion man.
My accordion man is playing himself. Sort of.
Oh, I see. Okay. He's playing with himself.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Playing with himself. Oh man.
We have to go. Cedar, you don't understand. Well, you might understand this, but we have to get into the gutter at some point in my streams. My streams are not an official Pierre Gustafson stream unless we go into a gutter.
Yeah, I've watched a few of them where it's gone to the gutter.
Okay, well, now you can say you were part of this gutter.
Yeah, just drawn a accordion man playing with himself. What are you gonna do?
Yes. Very good. Well, you go and do what you need to do. Russell, do you want to stay for a minute?
Yeah, I can stay around for a minute. I sort of jumped in at the last second. I didn't realize you guys were streaming.
We can coordinate more of a time if we want to all three draw at once.
Yeah, we can. Because of my soon departure toward Minnesota, it may not happen until I get to Minnesota, where I'll have time to figure this out. I should be doing all sorts of shit right now instead of drawing accordion men playing with themselves. But
every day.
What was that?
I said, welcome to my everyday.
You play with your accordion too, do you, Russell?
Yeah, I play with my accordion a lot. I make sure to tune it up all the time. Hit the right keys. I always try and hit the right keys.
Okay, well, good that
So-
you're hitting that right key because those keys can be tough, and you've got the
Oh
keys
yeah.
on the other side that are dampeners or something, so you don't want to hit those by mistake.
The last thing I
No.
want is an off note.
You don't want an off note. You want those notes to be.
Sometimes, and the worst part is when you squeeze too hard.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah, you can really
okay,
make some
Russell.
sour notes that way.
Russell, I think we can now move to a different topic. So, anyway, thank you, Cedar.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Bye bye.
So Russell,
So I make
I don't mean
things
to.
uncomfortable.
Yes. No, he had to. He told me he had to leave sooner.
No, I heard.
Yeah.
But
But anyway, what I'm going to do, because I need to actually do something else right now. So, but did you have to do any furniture moving today?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
And I'm not going to ask any questions about it. And I'm
Okay.
going to hope that you just forget all about it and I don't have to move any furniture ever.
Okay, I think that's probably wise. So and then when they say, "Where were you?" We had to move it all by ourselves, and you say, "Well, I was
Nobody ever told me you were.
I was waiting exactly where you told me. I was waiting in the back of so you can just pretend that your entire day was wasted waiting for them." Anyway, I'll see you later, Russell.
Yep.
Bye bye. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye Will. Bye Marilyn. Bye Carson.
Bye
etc.
everybody.
Bye.